Hi, I'm Blaine's Models, and I made the wacky train video called BoCo's Bind, but here is the true story. But first off, who is BoCo? Well, in 1940-something, Wilbert Audrey read a story to his dying son named Rabbit. The stories were about a blue train that was too stupid and too old to do anything. Then in 1945, he wrote 3 more follow-up stories about some other characters no one cared about. Then he combined them all into one book, called The 3 Railroad Trains. 20-some years and many sequel books later, he eventually wrote a book called Mainline Engines, which was secretly a troll book because it was actually about Edward's branch line and not the main line. Though it can be theorized he rickrolled the readers as a way to cheer up Gordon. I don't know, just a theory. This story introduced the world to the fan-favorite, beloved character, the bee that stung James on the face. Oh, and BoCo too. Then 20-some years after that, a bunch of people fucked around and found out and made a TV show based on Wilbert's stories. In Season 2 of the series, they introduced the beloved, but not as beloved as the bee character, based on
This engine is a Metropolitan Vickers Diesel Electric Type 2.
Yeah, that. He got one original episode in Season 3 with him as the top supporting role, then he got another supporting role in Season 5, then later had a lead in the 2000 film Thomas and the Magic BoCo. Oh, wait, no, they reshot those scenes. Yeah, so after the Season 5 episode Double Teething Troubles, the team took BoCo behind Shepperton Studios and shot him 17 times in the chest without reloading. Oh dear. Then, I don't know, like 40 years after that episode, old Thomas characters started coming back into the new seasons of the show, except for BoCo. Then the show ended. Wait, they brought back the Queen of England into the show and not BoCo? Anyways, now 16 years after that, if you browse Thomas Twitter for like a week, you'll probably find countless people arguing about whether or not BoCo was a good character and how stupid or not stupid you are for liking or not liking him. But what do I think? I like BoCo. I think BoCo makes a fun addition to the cast. Personality-wise, is he just Diesel Edward? I mean, I guess. But Edward's a good character, and Sodor's a big island with a lot of parts, so what's the big issue? I definitely think BoCo has potential. I mean, I made an episode about him, of course I do. But I really like the character, honestly. Sodor is kind of devoid of big double bogey diesels who stick around, especially in the TV series. I mean, the only mainstays have been Diesel 10, who was really only saved for special appearances, and Daisy, who was just kind of in her own league as a rail car. I mean, she didn't really get to pull like long freight trains or anything like that. But BoCo's cool, because he does fill that role. I also think BoCo has one of the best voices George Carlin ever gave.
Sighed BoCo. Here comes trouble.
However, I do completely understand why BoCo never made it when all the returnees were happening. You could tell he was pretty low on the list, and if there ever was a time for him to come back, it probably would have been around Tale of the Brave. You know, back when the clay pits was a big set piece, and Bill and Ben were just freshly reintroduced. But that point in time was kinda already loaded with existing returnees, as well as new characters that had to be brought in for marketable toys. And to be honest, and this isn't a new opinion, Timothy and Marion did take the role of being Bill and Ben's straight man, which was kinda BoCo's only thing he had in the classic series. I don't think there was any ill will towards the character by the crew. It just kinda never really worked itself out. But if you've been in the Thomas fandom long enough, you know Thomas characters with little screen time makes them all the more fun, right? And that's what brings us to Sodor Anthology of Interest, episode number, I don't know, like 5 maybe? 6? I don't know. And here's the loving story behind the bind. Alright, so originally, the story for BoCo's Bind didn't have Steven, Splatter, Dodge, or even the Mafia, but it did have Scruff the Scruncher. I first wrote the original story for BoCo's Bind in May 2024, and its first draft was called BoCo Down a Mine. Yeah, real original, buddy. I also started work on this the year before the Down the Mine pilot came out, which I know that wasn't that long ago, but like, yikes. The episode's initial conception was based on 2 purchases I had recently made. One was, of course, the Wooden Railway Scruff, and the other was the All Engines Go Ashima. Now, the engine herself didn't inspire the story, mind you, but the little minecart she came with did. You know this little minecart piece? It's pretty much everywhere. It's making its way into the new show as well. And you see where this is going with that title and this minecart? Yeah. I wanted to do something with a minecart and a mine shaft, but what? Okay. So, the original started the same way the final did. You know, that whole sort of meta bit about how, where has BoCo been? Oh, he's just been moving around the whole time. Yeah, you get it. And in this original story, he also starts at Withs, where Scruff is introduced, pretty much the same way. Although I don't think he said it's scrunching time in this version. Then Sir Topham Hatt comes out of Scruff's cab like he does in the final. Instead of sending him to the Kildane goods yard, BoCo is sent to the Boulder Quarry, and there, instead of meeting the Mafia, he meets Bertram. You know, Bertram from that one Season 5 episode. Oh, and I should also mention I've always headcanon that Bertram's old mine and Boulder Quarry are one and the same. I've always just kind of thought it was weird that Season 5 introduced two rock places that had narrow gauge and standard gauge engines at it. So for this set, I would have used the wooden railway haunted mine piece. How would I have done the rest of it? I really don't know. I have never done anything like a quarry, though I'd really like to try sometime. Maybe with like styrofoam or something? I don't know, I'll have to look how other people do it. But basically what happened is Bertram would bump the minecart, derailing himself and then sending the cart flying down into the mine. Think of like that scene in The Great Discovery. But then BoCo would go down to get it. Why? I don't know, who else is gonna do it? But as he goes in, the mine would begin to fall and pin BoCo right down the middle of his body. He'd kind of be like two bookends, and this is where I came up with the title BoCo's Bind. Yeah, so in the original it was a completely physical bind instead of the, you know, metaphorical contract of a deal sort of bind. Lol. So then Scruff would come there because there was like a little joke that got cut from the final story, although it was in the script, where Sir Topham Hatt came onto the waste dump on Scruff, and he didn't have his car to get back, and it'd be like, yeah, where am I gonna get a ride to get back? But in this story, it pays it off by the fact that Topham has to come to the site, and he comes in Scruff, and Scruff's there now. So what happens is a kind of your basic Thomas story. The new character comes and rescues him. He pulls him out, and they run out of the mine very quickly, and then they find like a little golden nugget on BoCo's roof, and it's like, yay, BoCo had a great adventure after all, and he has fun nowadays too. Yeah, so a couple reasons why I can this script. First up is I totally ripped off EE93's Bertram, mostly with how like he talks, you know, that big sort of theatrical way. Two, and what was the bigger reason, is that it just didn't really feel like anything. It's all purely things that just happen, and the moral just felt so nothing. It's just, oh, he had a big adventure, now he'll never feel unsatisfied. Just never really called out to me. That is until somehow, an idea of a rocket came to me. Is there a better way I can do that metaphor? King of the Railway introduced the character Steven, who is literally the real-life Stephenson's rocket, the engine that proved steam locomotives were the way of the future, until, you know, the 1950s or whatever. Does it make sense for the real rocket to be on Sodor? Nope. I don't care though. Steven is one of, if not my most favorite CGI Thomas character. He is such a fun guy. He's more fun-loving and energetic than your typical old engines like Edward or Skarloey. He also got me so into the real-life history of the rocket. So much so that when I was in 4th grade, which was the same year the movie came out, we had to do this Bottle Buddy project. If you don't know, that's pretty much like a history project where you choose like a historical figure, then you make like a little 2-liter bottle caricature out of them. And I chose George Stephenson, designer of the rocket. Yeah, I was a riveting little kid. And here he is. Yeah, he's still around and he lives in my parents' basement. And yes, my dad did in fact do this project for me. He was pretty good at these school projects. Anyways, I never got the Wooden Railway Steven until 2022. Though I somehow had the Rusty Steven, I'm honestly not sure how I ended up with this. I think it was a Christmas miscommunication. I'm not quite sure. I got the regular Steven around the time of my Christmas special, The Last Train for Christmas. So if you've seen that and ever wondered why Steven got such a power shot in it, this is why. He was new to my collection. But since having him, I've really wanted to do a Steven story. I just didn't know what. The thing about Steven to me is that the show did love him too, so he has a lot of good episodes that explore a lot of his character. I'm a big fan of the episode Cautious Connor, where Steven talks about his little history about being a trial engine, and you can kind of tell because that worked itself into the story. Now, I don't really remember the how or the specifics, but one day a plot for Steven just clicked in this story. I don't have any other way to describe it. It just kind of clicked that he and BoCo would make a hell of a pairing. I think it is so out there, and that's probably why it called to me. You got Steven, who's close enough to be one of the first engines ever, and BoCo, someone who, from a fandom point of view, has just been forgotten to the winds of time. It just kind of worked. I wish I could tell you some grandiose reason, like, oh, I watched Cautious Connor, and then I watched, I don't know, Double Teething Troubles. But no, it all just kind of happened, and I don't really remember why. Is this a sign of dementia? The Sodor Mafia is a concept which I used in a now deleted old video of mine, and I've always wanted to use that idea again and refine it to be something more funny. It's humorous to me in my little American brain, because you look at the vicar, and he just kind of looks like an old-timey gangster with his big hat and his all-black clothes. I also kind of love Marlon Brando, and it was going to be funny to have a Marlon Brando voice parody in a Thomas thing.
I'm going to tell him a Man in the Hills story. They are his favorites.
Now, I gotta level with you all. A bit of BoCo's Bind is just adaptations of in-jokes. The whole cousin's birthday party joke? Yeah, so here's a clip from my comedy show in college. Hey, what the heck, man? I just got back from my cousin's birthday party! We had so much fun! And that's me, by the way. Also, this guy voiced BoCo in The Dawn. Hello, Elias. Anyways, this line was a friend group in-joke for about the remainder of that school year. You know, the year before the summer I started BoCo's Bind. It's also a little joke bash with this bit from a really old Family Guy episode that always stuck with me.
As you know, I am obligated to grant one favor on this, the day of my daughter's wedding.
Basically, the Don repeats that line, and I kinda low-key stole that.
Well, I cannot deny a wish, especially on today, the day of my cousin's birthday party.
This Family Guy episode was probably my first exposure to anything Godfather related, and I low-key hope my episode gets Thomas fans interested in The Godfather as well. They're good movies, except for the third one from what I've heard. I think just treating a cousin's birthday party as an event close in significance to a daughter's wedding is kind of funny. I don't know. I also have always wanted to work Splatter and Dodge into a story, and since they're very henchman-esque characters, I thought they'd be perfect as the Mafia's trains. This does beg the question, though. Where is Diesel 10 in this canon? And, I don't know, maybe we'll see one day. Then lastly, the cousin's birthday party plot element reminded me of the birthday boxcar I had. And that's pretty much all the pieces of the story I can remember that I had a significant inspiration for. It all kind of just fell into place with the characters and the plot. I put together the script during my downtime at my internship, which hopefully no one from there is watching, and hopefully no one who wants to hire me is also watching this. I don't lollygag on company time. Look at me. Anyways, with a completed script, this leads me right into... And honestly, I don't have much to say on the production of this episode. I shot it mostly during weekday evenings and weekends. The Boys Season 4 was coming out during this time, and you can hear the show in the audio of some of the footage.
Fucking Swiss cheese. You need to tell you.
Everything alright? You? Me? I'm grinning fella. I gotta finish this fucking job. It's really you.
The most significant thing about this production is that I shot it on my phone. A Google Pixel 6 XL Pro. It's a pretty good enough phone camera. However, I did have 2 years of being a media production student after shooting this, and there's a lot I just do differently nowadays. Like, a lot of the shots at whiffs, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. And I realized this when I got back into editing it this year. Alright, so I'm recording this because I just now got the idea to do the behind the scenes video, and this thought really only occurred to me today. So I have shots like this that are reshoots shot on my ZVE10, and they look alright. I mean, I think they look like fine. But then you have the footage that is from years ago, 2 years ago, so summer 2024, like June, July, I think. Maybe some May in there, I don't know. And they just look abysmal, like, wow. Like, sure, it wasn't shot on, like, a real camera, quote-unquote real camera. Don't let people crush your dreams, kids. But, man, I feel like I could do better than this on my phone. I still have the same phone. Like, this is the same model of phone. I feel like I could do way better on that today than back then. And, like, I don't think there's been that many updates to, like, the camera app on my phone. But, like, man, what was I thinking? Okay, actually, let that serve as inspiration. Like, if I can make this shot at the same time having, like, a corporate video making job, like, you guys can do anything. Like, anyone can be a video maker. Oh my gosh. Disregard that last statement because I'm now graduated and I can't find anything. It's also because I kind of live in a bad area, but hey, that's whatever. It still sucks, though. BoCo's Bind is the last of a couple things for me. It is the last to be shot in my bedroom, which is now just a normal bedroom, and no longer a train set studio. Alright, well, with the exception of a Thomas museum on the other side of the wall, that's still there. And this is also the last video I'll be shooting on my phone. At least a significant portion of it anyways. I still have the Pixel 6, and I want to upgrade it at some time, but I kinda bought a camera recently. And also Sir Handel and Rheneas. Am I stupid? Why do I keep buying stuff? Anyways, but yeah, future videos will now be shot on my actual camera. Okay, now you're probably wondering, why the hell did this take 2 years? Okay, honestly, I have a generic-ass answer. Procrastination and life. I kinda had a Thomas T break for the past 2 years. I mean, I've always been active on Twitter and I still went to train shows, but the franchise just wasn't a big part of me. More of a background. During the summers, Thomas popped up more because I was at home and near my collection. But outside of those times, I was a media student, making videos like every day. So making more Thomas videos just wasn't really on my priorities and not really where I wanted to put my creative video making energy at the time. I still wanted to do BoCo's though. I just didn't know when I would, but I knew I would do it eventually. I knew for a fact I wanted a voice cast for this one. This mostly stemmed from the fact that I knew I could not pull off a Steven. He simply needed more grandiose than what I could ever do. Early in my junior year of college, I met Eli, the voice of Steven. Around August, September, so early on. Right when I had just finished shooting the bulk of BoCo's Bind. I asked him about the role, and after kinda awkwardly explaining that I have a Thomas the Train YouTube channel, he agreed. He's super chill about it. He's awesome. Thanks, Eli. And, alright, so get this. I didn't record a single line until spring of this year. So as it came to my last semester of college when I'm about to graduate, it kinda kicked in that I need to record with college people while I'm still at college. I also had just gotten a mic that Christmas, so yeah. And hey, I did it. Hooray. I gathered a bunch of people and I got them to do the voices as I saw fit with me knowing them. Kajaman had also reached out to me as well, and I let him know about some roles I had, and he did great as Whiff. The only fandom person I forced to be in it was Ben11 GWR. We're old collaborators, and I knew that with Ace the Australian race car in it, I had to get Ben11 GWR to do the voice. But yeah, thanks to the entire cast. The voice cast is honestly what helped me get through it. Hearing all the characters talk really put the pieces together and put out a roadmap for me to finally finish the video. That and the animated Steven's plan sequence. This was always essentially the sales pitch of this episode, and I think it turned out really well. The drawings Hudson did are awesome, and I knew they had to be the theme of the credits sequence as well. But yeah, formerly on Sodor Anthology of Interest, it'd all just be me. While I like taking on the brunt of the creative force, because I get to show off a bit of myself more than I could anywhere else, working with people is just more fun and makes the video a memory for more than just me. After all, we make a team together. And with that, that's about all I have to say about BoCo's Bind. At least what I think is interesting enough. You might be wondering, when's the next one? And honestly, I don't know. I have some other ideas, and I think I've landed on one, but it'll take some time. I also want to do some more shorter turnaround videos about Thomas merch I own, because I own quite a bit of it, I think. as well as some stuff about the new merch as well when that comes out in my area. This year I've realized officially that I love making videos just talking about Thomas as well. Watch my shorts. I still want to do more Sodor Anthology as well. I just want them to be more perfected though, so they'll take some time. I think my current goal is one video at a time, with Sodor Anthology as my project I work on simultaneously. We'll see how it goes. It's a new era of this channel, and I hope you all come along for the ride. And I hope this ramble that's like 5 minutes longer than the actual video is worth something to you. Alright, bye.